So, what was the plot of It's a Wonderful Sponge going to be? Let's discuss right now.
I got hot sauce in my bag, swag.
Hello there, beautiful human. My name is RaddersDX and welcome to my channel where today we got some more news about It's a Wonderful Sponge. I feel like it's been forever since I made a video on this movie, so I'm glad that we're finally getting some more information on it. And this information might not be as prevalent to the movie we're going to see next year, but it is a very interesting sneak peek at what the development of the movie was like. So let's get into that a little bit. Before we get started, I just want to quickly mention today's fan art. This comes from a YouTube user named SC4tex. And they posted this little video of the fan art, and this is really wild. I love this. You know, Metal Duckles kind of looks like he's part of like a tribe or something. Like, I'm really digging it. It looks crazy. It looks really different from the usual art that I've been seeing. So good on ya. It was a really interesting interpretation of it. I loved it. So I'll leave a link to that video in the description box below, so you can go ahead and check it out yourselves if you like. But yeah, thanks so much for making this. But back to the topic of this video. So the reason I'm making this video today is because we got some storyboards from It's a Wonderful Sponge that leaked onto the internet, I'm guessing today, because today is the first time I've heard of this. Oh wait, no. This was actually uploaded back in June 28 of 2018. So this was uploaded a while ago. However, it is unlisted, so there's no way that anyone would have found it unless like someone knew someone else. So it looks like these were just like released recently or like leaked. So I'm not sure how these came about, but now we got 4 video clips of the storyboards, so I'll leave links to them in the description box below if you want to take a look at them yourself. But I will be showing them in this clip, but they will be a little bit cut, so in case Viacom like tries to murder my channel or something. So yeah. But okay, and these storyboards, they reveal some very interesting plot details about It's a Wonderful Sponge, and to someone who was looking at them for the very first time with no context, you'd be very confused because these are some really outrageous scenes that we have going on here. But then I scouted the internet a little bit more, and I found out that the guy who maybe was responsible for this or like knew about these drawings had tweeted out saying that these were storyboards for the plot. But he tweeted out saying that these were storyboards for the plot that were passed, which meant that it was actually like the first plot, I guess, that passed through and went on to like the second stage, but eventually was tossed out in favor of the plot that we know about right now, which seems to be more of an origin story. So this is not actually like an official plot of the movie, it's just what could have been. So let's dive into these clips and see what we can gather from them, because they're very interesting, like I said. So in the first one, we have SpongeBob coming down from a helicopter, and he's standing in front of these cat soldiers. Yeah, they're literally cat soldiers. They have guns and everything. It's just so weird and strange. And you see SpongeBob running away from them. Then there's also Patrick, Sandy, and Squidward. And yeah, they're joined in on an adventure too. And yeah, they're basically running away from these soldiers, and they run into this very realistic house. It looks like a human's house. And this is telling me that they're probably on land, because I've never seen a house like this in Bikini Bottom or anywhere under the sea. So they must be running on land or like in an alternate dimension. But we see them go inside the house, and then they run into these two humans, and these humans actually share a lot of similarities between SpongeBob and Patrick, which can be seen in like this really humorous scene where they're mimicking each other. So I don't know, this makes me think that maybe it is an alternate dimension. Maybe this is the SpongeBob and Patrick of this universe, which is really interesting idea. I'm not sure how I feel about like this plot detail, but it is really intriguing nonetheless, and it really shows a completely different way this movie could have gone. So you see the cat soldiers entering the house, and they're basically out to kill them. This raises a lot of questions, because I'm thinking like, how did SpongeBob get involved with these cat soldiers? How did this even happen? Why is SpongeBob and his friends outside Bikini Bottom, and why are they battling each other like this? It's so weird and out there, and completely different from the first 2 movies, and completely different from anything we've seen in SpongeBob up to this point. So I gotta give credit to the writers for at least trying to do something different, because, you know, one thing I was worried about when it came to like the third movie was them not really able to come up with a unique and interesting storyline, because we already had 2 SpongeBob movies, and SpongeBob is just one of those franchises where it can be a little bit more difficult to develop a full-on movie with, because it's not really a deep franchise. I mean, there is a lot of deep things that you could look into in the SpongeBob show itself, but it's not nearly as deep as, say, like Harry Potter or Star Wars or the Marvel movies. You know, there's just not as much story to dive into with SpongeBob as there is with other franchises. So I can imagine it being a little bit more difficult to come up with an original and interesting plot line. And this is definitely original and interesting, but I'm not sure if it would have been right for SpongeBob. The second clip afterwards seems like a clip that takes place before the first clip, because you basically have the cat soldiers talking with each other and they've landed in front of the house. So it looks like this takes place a little bit before the original clip. So it looks like this takes place a little bit before the first clip. There's really not much going on here. You don't see SpongeBob at all in any of this clip. So yeah, there's really not much to comment on. It really just seems like the events that came before them going to the house and having that battle. Then you have the third clip, which actually takes place inside Sandy's tree dome, and it looks like SpongeBob and Patrick are very worried about something. And you know, I'm wondering, is this something to do with like the robot cats that we saw in the previous clips? But then later on we go and see that Patrick pulls up like a worm from the ground, and then all of a sudden SpongeBob and Patrick seem so much happier. So I'm thinking that maybe this was a scene that was going to be in the beginning of the movie. I mean, I'm actually not sure. I think there's a good chance that this might be in the movie still. It looks like something that could be in the beginning of the movie. You know, if we're gonna stick to like the origin story that we got from that interview, or was it a talk? I think it was actually a talk at a conference. I'm not sure. I forget. But if it is like an origin story, this might be a scene that comes before like SpongeBob tells the origin story or something. So maybe SpongeBob and Patrick are hanging out at Sandy's place before they decide to reminisce and talk about when they all first met. So that might actually be a scene that's gonna be in the movie, but only time will tell. Okay, and in the final clip, we actually have this really heartwarming scene, and I actually hope that something like this is in the actual movie. But we have a scene where SpongeBob and Gary are in a spaceship and they're heading towards a black hole. And this looks like this is more in tune with the cat storyline, because I saw like a cat during the clip in the space area. And it looks like they're just running into the black hole, you know, kind of just meeting their doom. And SpongeBob and Gary both look very emotional. They look like it's basically the end, and they're crying and they're looking very happy because they're at least with each other. And then they start reminiscing about some of their favorite memories, and this is just a really heartwarming scene. And I do wonder how they would have gotten to this point. Maybe this is something that they try to do to finally defeat the cat soldiers. Yeah, I'm just gonna call them cat soldiers. I'm sure there's like an easier name to call them than that, but yeah, whatever. And so yeah, this is actually a really great scene. I really like this one, and it's really heartwarming, but it's also really funny. Like, I can see at the end, for example, when SpongeBob and Gary are like in a circle, SpongeBob looks very happy, but then you see Gary's eyes are like very strained and stressed out because SpongeBob is holding onto them for dear life. So there's still some humor going on, you know, that classic SpongeBob humor that we all love. And yeah, this scene is just really great, and it'll be interesting to see what the actual plot of the movie is like, because I do think that this plot just seems a little bit too out there for a SpongeBob. I mean, don't get me wrong, it seems pretty interesting and original, and I would have liked to see how it would have turned out. But in terms of the third official SpongeBob movie, you know, a movie that's going to be seen by SpongeBob fans and casual people galore, I don't think this was right for it. But I do appreciate that they were trying to be creative and trying to bring something new to the franchise, because this is definitely something I would have never imagined SpongeBob having an adventure with. But yeah, it's pretty clear that this is not the actual storyline. I mean, one of the writers, I think, or like a storyboard artist, did confirm that this was tossed out later, but nonetheless, you could tell just by watching this that this was something that was never gonna get through. Like, it was just too out there, too weird, too just not SpongeBob enough. So yeah, I'm really interested in seeing what the actual movie is gonna be like, and whether or not they take some of this stuff and incorporate it into the new plot. I'm still very interested in seeing how this origin story is going to be made. Is it completely going to disregard the first few episodes of the show, or is it going to try to incorporate that somehow and still make sense with the show's like very loose continuity? Because the show has basically no continuity, and I think that as soon as you accept that, then you'll be able to look at this movie more of an open mind, because the show has never had like a good continuity. It just never has, and it never will. And the sooner you get that into your head, the sooner you can try to enjoy this movie for what it is. So yeah, that's basically everything I wanted to say about this. It's very interesting to see these clips, and it's also very interesting because we're seeing stuff like this before we actually see anything from the official movie. And I know that's not very typical. Usually the first thing we would see is an actual trailer, you know, something that they want us to see. So I gotta appreciate whoever let these out, because it creates a very interesting discussion nonetheless. But I am also looking forward to seeing that first trailer, and probably not gonna come for a while because the movie's not gonna come out till like 2020. But when it does come out, you can bet I'm gonna be the first person to talk about it. So make sure you subscribe to my channel if you want to stay up to date on that. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think this would have been a good plot for the movie, or do you think it was not a good plot for the movie? And let me know why or why not in the comment section. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe to my channel if you like videos like these, want to see more in the future. Follow me on Twitter at RidersDX, or join my Discord server, the Spongy Garden. And yep, this is Riders, riding out.